And staying with the Arab Spring, now let's get some more analysis and insight from journalist, author, F. William Engdahl, live from Frankfurt. Thank you for coming on the program today. Of course, we are aware you are the author of the book Full Spectrum Dominance, Totalitarian Democracy in the New World Order. Let's start with Tunisia. We just heard from Irina Galushko in Cairo. She touched down on the issue of Tunisia. Nearly 12 months since President Ben Ali was forced to flee the country after the revolt there. What has been achieved since then? Are the Tunisians happy with the revolution and the results forthwith?
Well, quite obviously the Tunisians are not happy. The economy is a disaster since the uprisings a year ago. Tunisia was picked as the first in a series of dominoes in a very carefully planned destabilization strategy that was planned out more than a decade ago in the Pentagon and by the RAND Corporation and others in Washington to redraw the map essentially of the Middle East. It was and it's not intended to stabilize or bring democracy to any of these countries, as your correspondent in Cairo just pointed out.
Now, Egypt, as you referred to Irina Galushko there, Egypt saw the second Arab Spring revolt that deposed President Mubarak. That was back in February. Elections are underway, but the protests resumed again this month with more lives being lost. Why is there still so much anger, and why is the anger still causing so much violence?
Well, I think there's anger because there's been little change, but also because it's quite the case that foreign NGOs financed by the U.S. Congress and others, the National Endowment for Democracy, various other so-called human rights politicized organizations, are fanning the protests, pitting the military against these human rights NGOs. So the idea is to create as much chaos through the region as possible in order to justify, I believe, a stronger NATO role permanently in the region.
When you talk about NATO, let's now turn our attention to that of Libya. Libya saw the deadliest uprising with a civil war that reportedly left tens of thousands dead. Gaddafi, as we all know, among them. NATO weighing in with airstrikes causing civilian casualties. Is there peace at last for the Libyan people? What can they look forward to for 2012?
I think they can look forward to pure hell. The opposition groups were given a promise by the French well before the ouster of the Gaddafi government that they would get a chunk of the oil revenues, and that was the incentive. They were armed by the West. And now Libya is being converted, according to the latest information, into a giant NATO aircraft carrier, if you will. And the Libyan oil is being used as a bargaining chip with Japan and others. Hillary Clinton has promised Libyan oil, reportedly in return for Japanese reducing its intake of Iranian oil and putting financial pressure on Iran. So we can see what the game is in Libya is not about democracy or Libyan welfare. It's about using that to militarize the entire Eurasian landmass.
Well, as you say there, the issue of using Libyan oil as bargaining chips among those involved with NATO on ultimately what they called was this UN resolution to protect civilians, although it turned out into full-on war. Let's now talk about Syria, because Syria does remain a flashpoint. Unrest there still going on. People talking about everything being on a brink of a civil war, the controls slipping from President Assad. What's driving the conflict there? Do you see any end game in sight?
Well, I see a very real end game in sight, but you have to take the entire Arab Spring. It goes from Afghanistan to Morocco. The entire Islamic world is being transformed under a blueprint that was really presented by the Bush administration after the occupation of Iraq in 2003-2004. It's a whole series of destabilizations that will redraw the entire political map of the Middle East, and ultimately, I believe, is directed toward China and toward Russia, for NATO to be in a position to control the energy flows of the entire Eurasian landmass toward that larger agenda.
All right, author of the book Full Spectrum Dominance, Totalitarian Democracy in the New World Order, William Engdahl. Thank you very much. Have a very happy New Year in Frankfurt.
Thank you.
You'll be celebrating the arrival of 2012 just about 3 hours after us here in Moscow.
Thank you.